Hey everybody, Knack again for another video. As you see, I'm Tal here. These are going to be my top 10 most disappointing games of 2011. Note that I say disappointing. In other words, they're not the worst games that were made that year, but they just didn't live up to expectations. Anyway, enough of me babbling. Let's get this list started. Starting up the countdown at number 10, we have Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Tenkaichi. Now I can only speak for myself, but I feel as if all these Dragon Ball Z fighting games felt the same with just little roster updates. That being said, I felt at first the same would go for this game, until I heard about destructible environments, which I'm not sure if they were in the past games, and character creation. But although they did keep their promises on them, the game was still a complete disappointment for me, and for maybe others, because 1. It wasn't a fighting game, it was a button mashing quick time event jumble of a mess. 2. The character creation was limited, and 3. No spectator mode, meaning that it was incomplete. Pretty much I personally thought it was a big waste of money, and the bad news is that so obvious Ultimate Tenkaichi 2 will release next year with the content and gameplay we wanted for the MSRP of the full $60, which is why the title starts the list off at number 10. Next on the list at number 9 we have Tekken Hybrid. Now, ports of already released games shouldn't be on the list, but I'll make an exception to this. Now, I'm a fan of Tekken, and when I first heard about this little bundle of Tekken Tag 1, a demo of Tag 2, and the Tekken animated film, I was totally looking forward to this. But the reviews came out from people and sites, and it's official that this game sucks transvestite balls. I mean, the film seems decent from what I'm guessing, and the Tag 2 demo looks cool, but the thing that makes it on the disappointing list is Tag 1 HD. Everything's already unlocked from the start, and there's no online. Now, I don't want to sound like a glutton, but if they would put another game, say Tekken 4, or any of the PS1 titles on it as well, I wouldn't mind about Tag 1's problems. But unfortunately no, and that's why it has a place on the 9th spot. Brink was an FPS that was pretty hyped up to be something interesting, because it advertised the use of parkour, and the concept of how the multiplayer will be part of the main story must have interested some people. Now, I remember seeing it on many people's anticipated lists, and considering it was going to be made by Splash Damage, I thought it would be Gearbox good, as in a great title that ranges from the 83 through 85 mark. But unfortunately, the stuff advertised was way too good to be true. From what I've heard, the parkour sucked balls, online was a shitty mess, the story was ass, and overall it turned out to be just another shooter. As much as I'm gonna get hate here for spouting the statement, the moral of the story is, if Bethesda publishes a game that isn't Elder Scrolls, Fallout, or any of their RPGs, don't overhype it. Number 7 goes to Resident Evil Mercenaries 3D. To make a long story short on why it's disappointing, there's no Leon, and maybe Ada, and we all know about the save file bullshit. But I do give Capcom props for now including the ability to move while aiming and shooting. Okay, on to the next game. The Third Birthday was a new iteration to revive an old Squaresoft franchise people know as Parasite Eve. However, what Chrono Cross was to Trigger, Third Birthday was to Parasite Eve. Now before I continue, please someone correct me if like what I said about Cross and Trigger and Third Birthday and Parasite Eve was correct or not. Now besides the point, not only did the third birthday not relate to the past Parasite games, but became nothing but Resident Evil 5 clone with third-person shooting gameplay and the survival horror roots being taken out. Sure, there's a good reason on why it pulled an RE5, thanks to an awesome review made by Mr. Unleaded Logic, which you can check out on the bomb. But seriously, if you're gonna make a sequel to a past franchise, make it feel like it's part of the franchise and not something like a reboot that the fans will get pissed off at. Just like a future title I'm going to mention in this countdown. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for number 5, but LA Noire was a massive disappointment. Just like many of the other games on this list, LA Noire was an anticipated title for many, and it did not live up to expectations of some people. I said some because others actually enjoyed it. But getting into why it's disappointing, this game was advertised to be a unique experience, being a detective and all that sort of stuff. Plus, the facial animations were considered to be some sort of technological achievement. Unfortunately, that did not help the game with repetitive gameplay and other problems it had, which can be told in reviews. Overall, this game disappointed many because it looked like the developers cared more about graphics than gameplay. Parts of the game were taken out and spread to all around the stores, and I've heard about some overheating issues, but I hope they're already fixed. At number 4, we have Dragon Age 2. Now I haven't played this game yet, nor did I play Origins, but I can tell that this game was a massive disappointment due to Metacritic ratings. According to what I'm reading that made it disappointing, it pretty much took away all of these great things that were present in Dragon Age 1, and according to some people, they dumbed down a whole lot of things in Origins. Like the story is shit, there isn't customization for party characters, and gameplay is new, which some fans of the original hate. Man, it just goes to show that BioWare products are becoming massive disappointments, and you guys have EA to thank for that. But we all know Mass Effect 3 is going to be 2012's Game of the Year because it's freaking Mass Effect. Duke Nukem Forever is next, and I'm guessing some of you are surprised about its spot on the list. As many of you already know, Duke Nukem Forever is a game that's 11 years in the making after being in development hell, with 3D Realms having a lawsuit from Take-Two Interactive, as well as the company losing the development team of the original project. When this resurrection was finally announced, thanks to the guys at Gearbox working on it, the title had a lot of expectations to live up to, but unfortunately, it did not live up to them at all. Reasons for it being, the graphics were super outdated, gameplay was nothing amazing nor fun for some, and the multiplayer was a huge mess. But still, despite that shit that's wrong with it, I'm being lenient on it by putting it at the third spot, because it wasn't expected to be the most amazing shooter on the market. When it comes to overhyped and over-anticipated games of the year, hell, maybe even this generation, Rage would quite possibly place in the top 2. I mean, I freaking remember this game winning all these Best of E3 awards from all these sites and critics. Now with those awards, as well as the fact that id was behind the game, the same guys behind Doom, it was bound to be in the ranks of Skyrim and Uncharted 3, right? Right. Well, coming from the reviews of everybody, the story was a complete mess, with pacing and horrible ending. The multiplayer I heard fell flat on its face, and I've heard some people say that playing the game is either a massive chore or just plain tedious. Overall, it just goes to show that Just because a game gets so many awards doesn't mean it's good. GTA 4, anybody? And finally, at number 1, everybody knows what game I'm talking about, and that of course is Marvel vs. Capcom 3, both vanilla and ultimate. I mean, what else is there to say about this game, rather than I paid $75 for that heaping pile of shit known as the vanilla original. Now for those who don't know why it sucks, I'll tell you a couple of reasons. Vanilla was an incomplete game with no spectator mode, shitty endings that only became shittier in Ultimate, the game was lackluster in content, and of course, there's no Mega Man. And of course, the worst thing about vanilla Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is that those who waited in line for a game like me and bought it new pretty much got the finger from Crapcom because they just abandoned us and did not thank us with like an incentive for putting up with this bullshit, because they left us for dead to work on Ultimate. Overall, there isn't much more to say about this garbage trash that's already been said, and I'll end it off here before I get more pissed off. So those were my most disappointing games of 2011, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please, tell me what games you found disappointing. I'm willing to respond back. Now for those who watched it, stay tuned for my favorites of 2011, as well as my 2012 anticipated. Anyways, as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, take it easy, and until next video.